Did you know 9 experienced hikers were found dead on a frozen mountain? Some barefoot, some with crushed skulls, others missing their eyes and tongues. Their tents were ripped open from the inside, and their deaths have baffled scientists, soldiers, and investigators for over 60 years. This is not a legend. It's a true story. You ever heard of the Dyatlov Pass incident? It's this super wild and mysterious story about a group of hikers who vanished in the mountains. Back in January 1959, 9 skilled mountaineers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute set off on a winter trek through the icy Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. The group was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. They were all seasoned hikers, confident and well-trained for the harsh, freezing conditions. They were totally on a mission to conquer this super remote peak called Otorten. Can you believe how adventurous that is? I mean, who wouldn't want to tackle such a wild challenge, right? In the local Mansi language, that name actually means, "Don't go there," right? It's kind of funny, isn't it? I mean, just imagine someone saying that to you. It really makes you think twice. Huh? It was this super creepy vibe. You know, like they had no idea it was a warning about what was about to go down. Wild, right? As a brutal blizzard rolled in, the group decided to make camp on the slopes of a nearby mountain, which would later be named Dyatlov Pass in their memory. They pitched their tent on a steep incline. A strange choice, but perhaps they thought it would protect them from avalanches. The last photos they got back from their cameras capture the group just laughing, smiling, and radiating this quiet confidence. It's such a beautiful moment. And then, silence. Just like that, they vanished. Poof. Gone forever, you know. It was like they were here one moment, and then, bam! Nothing. Super weird, right? As soon as the hikers missed their return time, search teams quickly jumped into action, racing up the mountains to find them. What they discovered was the stuff of nightmares. Their tent, half buried in snow, had been ripped open from the inside. Footprints led away from the campsite. Barefoot footprints, some wearing only socks, in sub-zero temperatures. You won't believe this. Under a huge cedar tree, 2 bodies were discovered, and it's super creepy. What's going on? They were barefoot, wearing only their underwear, and their hands were burned, as if they had desperately tried to start a fire or climb the tree for warmth. 3 more bodies were found between the tent and the tree, frozen in poses that suggested they were crawling back towards the camp. But the last 4, they were found months later, buried under thick snow in a ravine. Can you believe that? Their injuries defied all logic. One had a crushed skull. Another's chest was collapsed, as if hit by an immense pressure. But there were no external wounds. And one woman was missing her tongue and eyes. Despite these horrific injuries, there were no signs of a struggle and no tracks of another person anywhere near the site. The Soviet investigation was swift and strangely silent. The official cause of death was listed as an unknown compelling force. But seriously, what kind of wild force could pull that off and not leave a single trace? It's just mind-blowing, right? Some theories pointed to a secret military weapons test, perhaps parachute mines or radiation experiments. Can you believe it? They actually found traces of radiation on the hikers' clothes. It's wild, right? What do you think happened out there? Some folks thought it looked like an avalanche, but honestly, the terrain was all wrong. And then came the whispers of something not human. Local villagers spoke of strange orange lights in the sky that night. A few of the searchers even said they spotted a shiny metallic sphere just hovering near the pass. Can you believe that? UFO theories started buzzing everywhere. And the government staying quiet just added more fuel to the fire, you know? The local Mansi people had their own beliefs. They considered the mountain to be cursed, a place where the spirits of the dead wandered. Hunters absolutely wouldn't go near that place, saying the snow whispered spooky voices at night. The hikers had unwittingly camped on a sacred slope. Some believed they disturbed something ancient, something that wanted them gone. Searchers even found branches high up in the cedar tree broken, as if someone had climbed, or been dragged, into the canopy. Beneath the snow, the ground was littered with fragments of burned skin and fabric, as if scorched by something unseen. The sheer terror that must have taken hold in that tent, causing 9 rational people to flee barefoot into the freezing darkness, still haunts investigators to this day. Eventually, the Soviet government just decided to quietly shut down the whole investigation. You know, it's just heartbreaking that the families of the victims couldn't even ask a single question. The lead investigator, a man named Lev Ivanov, later admitted in an interview, "I saw things I wasn't allowed to write down." He described seeing a bright flying object reported by villagers that very same night and spoke of an energy that seemed to have killed the hikers. Decades later, the case files were partially declassified, revealing inconsistencies, missing pages, and unexplained burn marks on the victim's skin. And yet, the official stance remained unchanged: hypothermia caused by disorientation. But for most people, that explanation just didn't add up. In 2019, a whopping 60 years after the incident, Russian authorities finally reopened the case. And guess what? Their new conclusion was pretty wild. A slab avalanche happens when a little wall of snow crashes down on the tent. It's like nature's way of reminding us to be careful out there. But avalanche experts were quick to dismantle this theory. They argued the slope was too shallow, the snowpack too thin, and the injuries far too violent for such an event. Others have proposed a different theory: infrasound. This is the idea that low-frequency sound waves, generated by the wind, could have triggered intense panic, confusion, and nausea. Maybe the hikers, totally freaked out, bolted from the tent, not realizing they were running straight into danger. Absolutely, it makes sense. But honestly, it's just not the full story, you know. There's so much more to it. It still doesn't explain the radiation, the missing eyes, or why 9 strong, experienced hikers never made it back. Today, the Dyatlov Pass remains silent, a place where the snow never fully melts, and the wind carries whispers of the past. The trees still stand, all twisted and blackened, like they were burned by unseen hands. It's super eerie, right? You can almost feel the strange vibes in the air. Tourists are flocking to the site, some just curious, and others really seeking answers. It's a mix of excitement and wonder, you know? But they say when night falls, the mountain changes. The air grows still, and sometimes you can hear the faint sound of footsteps in the snow. 9 souls vanished into that frozen darkness, leaving behind only questions and a tent torn from the inside out. Some say it was nature. Others think it was the supernatural. But maybe it's just a little bit of both, you know. The truth was never meant for human ears, right? The Dyatlov Pass hides its secrets deep in the ice, and it's chilling. And the wind forever whispering their names reminds us that some mysteries are not meant to be solved. I really appreciate you joining me on this wild ride into one of history's creepiest mysteries. It's going to be a fascinating journey, so let's dive right in. Keep that curiosity alive, and remember to stay safe out there. All right, keep exploring and having fun.